Good evening, everybody. This is Huge Pop from Huge Pop Entertainment. My boy Rudy's next to me. Huge Pop Entertainment welcomes to the Drop the Mic night. Join us tonight as we explore the journey of the grizzled veteran from her intense training and memorable matches against the opponents like Thunder Rosa to her passion for making a difference outside of wrestling. Get ready for a candid and captivating conversation with the one, the only, Myka Madrid, Sylvia Sanchez. Welcome to the Huge Pop Entertainment Drop the Mic party tonight with Rudy, me, and Myka Madrid. Welcome to the show. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate coming out tonight.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and join us. In case you didn't know, that my co-host, his name is Rudy Gonzalez, and he's a great guy. Myka Madrid, Rudy Gonzalez. I'm glad you guys can meet each other. Awesome. I've heard a lot about WOW, the women's of wrestling, and I'm really interested in hearing about Myka Madrid, Sylvia Sanchez, and WOW. So, but the first question I always ask is, how did you first get started in professional wrestling, and who were your biggest inspirations growing up?
Ever since I was little, I was always watching wrestling, especially at my great-grandpa's house. I was really never too much into it, but just going over there with my uncle and my brother all the time and just watching it on the side. So one day I just decided, like, hey, I'm originally from a small town, so I wanted to get out of there. I'm a huge Shawn Michaels fan, so I looked up the Texas Wrestling Academy and saw that there. So I sent in an application when I was 17 years old to Rudy Gonzalez, but he didn't look at it or ignored me. So I'm like, okay, never mind. I'll just continue doing what I'm doing here. So I actually worked at the post office for 2 years. When I was 18, 19 years old, I resubmitted my application, and then I started wrestling here in 2011.
So, Rudy, what was the difference between her submitting her application at 17 to at 19 when you accepted her into the training school?
Her age. One, she lived in New Mexico, and I you for the TWA you had to be 18 or over, and it was just out of the question, and so just moved on, and then a couple of years later she sends me another email, and and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is familiar. I think I've got something like this from somebody else before, and I looked up my records, and sure enough, so at the time I had one spot remaining on a particular group, and I told her, I have one spot open, and her and her mom and dad drove down here, and they set her up, and that's when she started.
I'm going to just say this. Myka Madrid, Sylvia Sanchez, you are one popular young lady, because I think I've hit the top of I've never hit this many people on watching at once. You had 35 people just a second ago. We're at 25 right now. Those that are watching the show, please hit the YouTube channel, follow, subscribe. Hit Myka Madrid's on Facebook, stuff that she posts all over. Support the show. Thank you again, followers. Again, hit that subscribe button. So we got a question from a fan here. Actually, a shout out, Coach Rudy Gonzalez and Myka Madrid. Nothing but great things to say about these two. Jalen Stewart, thank you guys. Thank you for jumping in.
Awesome. Thanks, Jalen.
Yeah, awesome. So, Rudy, you got a question for our guest.
I've asked her all the questions in the last 15 years, that I've known her. So, but you know what? Just to familiarize a normal work day at WOW, Mike, explain to them exactly what you do from the time you wake up to when you go back to bed.
Yeah, so of course. So the normal workday for WOW. So just this past October, I was at WOW for 2 weeks. So we'd wake up. I'd wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I had to wake up my daughter here in San Antonio. So there's a 2-hour difference. And then after, we would go to the ring. We would train, depending on what your schedule is, but I'd always go in early just to go see what the other girls are doing, help them out with whatever. We do some wrestling training, and then we'll do some wrestling matches. So about 12 o'clock, maybe they'll be like, okay, go ahead and go have lunch. Maybe 2, come back throughout the day, still going over matches, over training. And about like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, finally go back to the hotel room, probably like shower and stuff, then go back to the training center to see if any other girls wanted to go, and then probably wouldn't be back until like 11:30, almost midnight, and then start all over again. And then whenever we had shows, so we had shows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we'd wake up early, have breakfast at 9 o'clock, have to get our makeup done, have to get our gear on. We have to take pictures. We have to do promos. We have to go in VIPs, go introduce ourselves, meet and greets for the fans, start the show at 6, and then we'd end at 11 o'clock. And then we have to do pre-takes and post takes, and then start again the next day. So it was like a constant busy.
Wow. Now is that your route? That was the schedule in Vegas a couple of years. Oh, wow.
Yep. This is October. Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy. That's
it's
impressive.
A long day. And like I said, as I'm a wrestler, but also I'm a mom. So I have to wake up my daughter, make sure she goes to school, does her work, and then right back to my wrestling.
So I'm going to ask a dumb question. Do you ever get to the burnout stage like, holy crap, I'm exhausted? But how do you push through to do the next day?
Honestly, I don't even think about it. I just keep going. So like whenever I flew back home from San Antonio, we had a show that night. So we ended like at 11 o'clock, went back to the hotel, got ready. My flight was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to be at the airport. So I didn't sleep that night. Flew back into San Antonio and went straight to training. Flew in by like 12. I went to training. So I think I sleep for like days.
It didn't stop then. So you left Vegas, came home to TWA, and continued training again.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. I gotta applaud that because
she's leaving out one little detail. So while she's there doing her wrestling stuff, she's also doing her actual job stuff online. She's able to, through her work, she's able to do her work on her laptop. So in between all the stuff she's doing at WOW, she also has to answer emails and help out with the office stuff and what have you. So it's nonstop, basically from when she wakes up to go back. So, and then the other part she's leaving out is she's a mom. So our 12-year-old insists that she sleeps with her. So how do you think they do that? So my daughter has her phone, and they FaceTime each other, and they have their phone next to their face while they're asleep, and they sleep each other that way. So I'll wake up at 3 a.m. here and go to our daughter's bedroom, and I look at her phone, it's on, and Myka is asleep with her mouth open.
Dude.
And I mean, super mom here.
Yeah, I did forget to mention that, but I didn't need anybody to know that I sleep on the phone with my mouth open. But yes, that's what I do as well. So what I normally do is I try to take off of work, but sometimes I'm not able to because I'm very in demand at work. So what I'll do is I'll have to answer emails or have to set the alarms for them or having to do because I do work for, it's called ABC of Southwest Texas, where we help children, parents to empower them for the children that has autism or any kind of diagnosis. So I'm consistently busy.
I can leave the podcast right now and say you're one of the best, most respectful young ladies I've talked to. I think that's amazing. I really do. That's crazy. That is amazing energy that you have. And then you have a husband and family like that. And whether you sleep with your mouth open or not at a cell phone, that is amazing. And I applaud you for that, Myka. That's great. That's super cool.
Well, I appreciate that. And just to one thing, because I know you probably follow Rudy on Facebook. So I was out working at wrestling and everything. So he broke our dryer. So whenever I got home, I fixed the dryer in 2 minutes. So I just want to put that out there. So I tell you, I'm very in demand.
Yes, yes. Yeah, okay, we'll go back to wrestling. So,
Yes.
you you wrestled at the Texas Wrestling Academy along with notable alumni Brian Danielson, Paul London, Thunder Rosa. Those are three big names. What is it like? I mean, what's it like working with those guys? And do they treat you like one of them, or do they treat you like you're lower than them on the scale?
No, they treat me the same on any scale. So last year, whenever I was at WOW, Paul London was there, and I've known Paul whenever he comes down to do seminars for Rudy. And so it was nice having him there helping us do our matches and telling us what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So I've always been treated very well by all of them, even with Thunder Rosa. So with Thunder Rosa, she came and she did a clinic for Rudy. I believe we had 7 girls at the time training at the Texas Wrestling Academy. And so she just got back from Lucha Underground. And so having that seminar with her was like eye-opening. And it's different when women wrestle with women. When you wrestle with men, it's completely different. So she had us doing all these drills and everything. And she like pushed us in a way that a man couldn't push you to do things. So I did have a match with her at AEW, and this was a match right before she actually got signed with AEW.
Okay. So working at AEW, OVW, Shine, how do those promotions compare to WOW Women of Wrestling?
I believe they gave me the platform that I needed to go into the WOW Women's of Wrestling. So Wrestling with Shine is another all-women's promotion. I had the opportunity to go, like, whenever you first start wrestling, nobody knows who you are. So just getting my name out there, just showing that, hey, I'm here to work. I'm here to wrestle. I'm here, whatever you need me to do. So I would drive to Florida. I wouldn't fly. I would drive to Florida, 17-hour, 16-hour drive, go stop at a gas station, change, make sure I'm dressed appropriately, get down, go help with the ring, then get ready for our matches, and then drive back to San Antonio the next day. So it was just well-rounded everywhere. Even going to OVW, working with Al Snow and Maria, very good people telling me the thing is, I like that they didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. They gave me constructive criticism, which that's what I wanted. I don't want you to tell me like, hey, you're great whenever I suck. You know what I mean? Right. So getting their advice and getting that platform to be where I'm at now.
Okay. So now you said you'd like to get the feedback, right?
Yeah.
So when you're in the locker room with Paul London, Thunder Rosa, Brian Danielson, all those guys, and even the roster of veterans that you get surrounded by, how important is it for you to take that information, that feedback, to improve your career? And as a legend, how important is it to you to be able to talk to these young kids that are coming into business?
It's just taking it and running with it. So especially with, like I say, a lot of the women wrestling. So we're very sensitive. We don't want to hear like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, but we need to be told so we're able to help ourselves and make ourselves better. So listening to the veterans and them telling us, hey, this is what makes sense, this is what doesn't make sense. And then me able to go and have the opportunity to go work with the girls at WOW, and they're younger and they're driven and they're hungry and they want to do something. So just listening to the advice and then just passing it down to them.
Okay. So you come through Florida. You coming through Florida often?
I haven't been there for a while, but I'd always be going to Florida. Once I got signed with WOW, I just kept my bookings a little bit limited.
Okay. I know I asked this because I follow independent promotion here in Panama City called Extreme Impact Wrestling, XIW. And they have a women's division that's basically ran by La Brava Escobar. I don't know if you've heard that name.
Yes, I know La Brava.
Puerto Rico. Man, that'd be cool. I don't know. That'd be cool to see you and La Brava go one-on-one.
I've wrestled with La Brava. I can't believe the other lady's name. In Florida, like I said, I can't remember the other lady's name, but me and La Brava worked together before in a triple threat match.
That'd be awesome. Man, I know the promoter of XOW. Maybe I need to have him reach out to you or something like that. And I'd love to have you and Rudy over at Panama City. And
that name does sound familiar. Yeah.
I think the other one was Rocky Radley.
Maybe Rocky, yeah, because I worked with Tokyo Kahagas at Thunder Championship Wrestling.
That's probably where you met La Brava, yeah. So I just had to ask that question because she's amazing. I've seen footage of you. You're amazing. You do some great work. You have some great in-ring work. So what inspired Myka Madrid to step into the ring and become Sylvia Sanchez?
So they wanted to keep my name, Myka Madrid, because they wanted a Hispanic, and then plus Madrid is Spain. But so we had to switch up the names, and so I let them come up with the Sylvia Sanchez. So there's no really difference between Myka Madrid and Sylvia Sanchez. It's just me as a different name, but just going up to 100.
Okay. So you've held multiple titles, correct? Some
Yes.
in TW Texas Women's Championship 4 times.
5 times.
5 times. Okay. Are you currently holding a title?
Yes, I'm current the Diva Tejana champion for Chitsanera Entertainment. And then also I'm still the 5-time Texas Women's Champion for Texas Wrestling Entertainment.
Okay. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So talk about your AEW experiences. What was that like? I mean, you hear about, it's all over social media how AEW is falling apart, blah, blah, blah. What is your experience working with AEW? Is Tony Khan that much of a wrestling figure player that just puts things together? What's your experience like?
So whenever I went to AEW, I did 2 wrestling shows for them. The first time I did, the first night I didn't wrestle. The second night I was able to wrestle. The second night, so let's see. So Dustin Rhodes would get all the girls in the ring to go over stuff and see what they can do. Previously, I worked for Luke Gallows at one of his promotions.
Yeah.
I worked twice for him. One of our good friends, Francisco Ciazzo, reached out to me one day. I think it was like a Thursday night. He'd be like, "Hey, can you be here tomorrow?" Sure. So I drove to Georgia and then came back to San Antonio. So I met Luke Gallows. I wasn't wrestling that night, but Luke Gallows was talking to Dustin and be like, "Hey, you should give her a shot." So I was able to wrestle against Thunder Rosa. So whenever I was there, I just go do my job. I didn't see anything like, everybody was nice. Everybody was approachable. There was no like backlash or nothing like that. So I just go and wrestle. I don't go listening to like all the politics and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem with social media and all these content creators out there. They want to bring politics into it.
And you can't believe everything you hear on the internet,
Right,
Some people just like to make news.
Right. And I'll tell you honestly, that's why I decided to go the route of interviewing talent, because too many people are blowing up the social media with their opinions and you don't get the facts. And then we talk to the people that know the facts, and that's why I do what I do. Because
right.
Yeah. And again, I say this, I'm blessed to have Rudy as the co-host. He's great. So, Rudy, do you have anything yet, man? You're good still.
I'm good.
He's speechless. So, let me see. So, us fans, we see the finished product, right? On a Monday Night Raw, a WOW taping, ROH, all these. We see the finished product and they put it out on there. What is it like preparing for that? Like, you went to Vegas for 2 weeks, and what was that all about? Did you participate in setting the ring up? Did you go through all this? What kind of stuff do you go through as a professional wrestler before we see you at the finish?
So you want to start whenever I first start from training until I go into Vegas? So
No. Yeah. No, I want to know, like, you had to go to WOW, right? You had to go to Vegas for this 2 weeks of TV tapings. And what all goes into it before you start wrestling and doing the show?
Before I do the show, so they have somebody there to do to go take the ring. and set that all up. So us women, all we need to do is concentrate on getting ready, doing our promos, making sure our matches are where they're supposed to be, doing our pre-takes, doing our post-takes, making sure we know where we're at, where we need to go, because it's like a constant, you cannot go over your times. That's very tedious. So we have certain times to go over. Once we get into the match, you need to listen to your referee, because the referee will be like, okay, you guys have 10 minutes. Next thing you know, you're 2 minutes in. Okay, you guys need to already wrap it up. And we're like, whoa, we haven't even gone a full 10 minutes. So it's just a lot of different moving parts. Things change with the last minute notice. So it's like, okay, here we go. So it's always being ready for anything.
Okay. So there's communication with the referee during the match to let you know how far you're along and how much, where you got to cut back and stuff like that.
Especially with tapings, correct? Yes.
And how frustrating does it get when you're going over and they want you to cut back a little bit of your match so you stay in line?
It's just knowing how to maneuver and where to go from that certain spot that you're in. So it's always good not to like go, hey, we're doing A, B, C, and D, but we have to make sure that we're able to maneuver it.
Okay.
It does get frustrating sometimes because a lot of the times we have newer women in there and they're really not too familiar with all that stuff. So we're needing to guide them and like educate them.
Okay. So you do singles and you do tag team. You tagged with Vivian Rivera and managed by Sylvia Lopez.
Yes.
What is the role? What kind of dynamic twist or switch is it as a tag team partner to singles person?
Tag team and singles are, to me, I can do either or. It doesn't really matter. Switching into it. So a tag match to me is you and your partner are helping each other trying to win the match. So it's not just you over there, I'm going to do this, and then you go do that. No, it's just us working together. So I think that's where people lose the art of the tag team wrestling.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, to me, it would seem much difficult because as singles, you're in control of the match, your own thing. As tag, you got to remember what your partner's doing and all this stuff. So it seems to me, for a fan, it appeared to be more complicated to be a tag partner than a single competitor.
And it's having chemistry as well. So like with me and Vivian, we had some chemistry. And then whenever she left, I was partnered with Angel Rose, which we had chemistry as well. So I'm not sure if you've seen any of those matches, but those went in as well. And then we did like a triple with me, Angel Rose, and Tormenta.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. What's your current goals within W.O.W? Is a championship run something you want to do?
Yes, as a tag and then as a singles competitor. And then also now we have a trios where you have a third person. So that's a goal as mine as well.
So you want to be three-time Myka, right?
Right, yeah.
Three-belt Myka?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Are there any dream opponents that either with WOW, other independent promotions, AEW, WWE?
That is a good question. So I've had the privilege and opportunity to wrestle with some of the best female wrestlers. So one of the female wrestlers that I really helped me along the way is Eva Lise, which I worked with her in Stein Wrestling. She came down and did some shows with Rudy Gonzalez so we could wrestle. She is one person that I tremendously looked up to and guided me in all the ways. Even Mercedes Martinez.
Okay.
So I don't really have too many people that I'd want to have dream matches with. I really can't think of any.
So you got, 10, 20 more years in the tank to do this?
Sometimes I say that, but then some days, like I've told Rudy the other day, like, what do I want to do? Where do I see myself? Because like I said, I am a mom. I look at things a little bit differently with wrestling now while I'm older. So I'm not like a spring chicken, but like I look at things a lot differently, especially with like the younger female stuff and me giving back to them. That's what's heart filling. And that's what motivates me to give more, just being that role model.
So what advice would you give to an aspiring women's wrestler looking to break into the industry?
To get tough skin, don't let anybody tell you anything different, especially as a female. You're always going to be told something, depending if it's your age, if it's the way you look. You can be anything that you want to be. Just keep pushing yourself.
How involved in the promotion are you with Rudy?
Well, I am now helping train whenever he has female wrestlers come in that want to wrestle. So like right now we have a girl named Shania, and then Tiana. Rudy, is that her name? Tiana Emerald. That
Tierra.
Tiara.
Her name's
Sorry,
Tierra.
Tierra. Yeah, so I have 2 female wrestlers that are training right now. So I'll assist and help them with training.
Okay. So you mentioned lucha wrestling and stuff. So how do you feel about representing New Mexico in the ring as La Bandida? Did I say that right?
Yeah, Las Bandida, yep. So I like representing my New Mexico heritage, you know, like Rudy didn't realize like I have family that are bandidos. If you learn all my New Mexico history, the Archuletas and the Suazos and all that. So me coming from New Mexico, you really hardly have anybody that comes out of New Mexico, especially where I'm from. It's a small town called Chama, and everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business. So me being able to show that you can come out of a small town and make something of yourself is really, really good. I like it.
Okay. My wife and I took a cruise to Cozumel or Cozumel. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, we walked down the side street in the town, and we had to go like a mile, I guess, to the Lucha Underground little building that they were doing lucha wrestling. And I bought a shirt. I should have worn it. I wore it yesterday. I should have worn it today, man. But anyways, it was cool. I do love lucha. You guys are insane. That's all I gotta say. So you took a break from WoW, am I right?
No, I didn't take a break from WoW. I've been with WoW since 2021.
Okay. So did you take a pause in wrestling at a time in your life?
The only time I took a pause was whenever I was pregnant with my daughter. I didn't realize I was pregnant at the time because I was working out, going to the gym, trying to be somebody. And then one day I'm like, hey, I went to the doctor. I'm like, I need to take a break. You could ask Rudy. He didn't believe me for the longest time because I didn't start showing I was pregnant until I was about to have her. And the thing is, I was actually wrestling whenever I was pregnant with her, which I didn't know. So that's the only time I've actually taken a break from wrestling. And that was back in 2012.
Was it hard to get back into it?
It was, but it wasn't. So ever since Ivy was 6 months old, we'd take her with us to wrestling shows. So I would wrestle. Ivy would be asleep on my bag. Rudy would watch her, or any other of the wrestlers that were in the back. So everybody that knows me, they know my daughter. And she was, for the longest time, she was known as Wrestling Baby. They never asked her name until probably 3 years later.
Okay.
But no, she's always been a part of going with me to trips. Like, if Rudy can't go with me, me and her will go on road trips. Like, I would go to Kentucky, she would go with me to wrestle, and then come back.
Okay. So I got to ask a question, because when you were taping in Las Vegas, you left Rudy to man the house. You were gone for 2 weeks, and I think the Wednesday podcast before he came, or Monday podcast before he came home, he said, I got to get that house clean. So did he have that house clean by the time you got home?
Surprisingly, yes. I was dreading it, but I was like, okay, please. That's just one thing I wanted off my plate, but it is what it is. I'm like, okay.
Well, he's not speaking, so I got to, ask these questions, right? So we talked off air about Tatovic, the gamer. Can you discuss your recent matches against Tatovic? What was it like facing her after so long?
Tatovic, so I really didn't watch too much of her matches whenever, but she just came back to the Wild Women's of Wrestling, and so they didn't really have anything for her to do. So they were like, hey, would you mind just having a wrestling match with her? Which I did, and I thought it was okay.
Okay. What about another one? A long-time rivalry, an ongoing rivalry, Nikki Nashville.
Nikki Nashville. So this was the first time that I actually wrestled with her at Wild Women's of Wrestling. So there's a lot of Nikkis. So I've wrestled with, there's a girl named Nikki Chase from Colorado, and then also a girl from Westlaco, Nikki Fuego.
Okay. Now, do you find yourself putting girls over, or do you find yourself getting more wins?
It's mostly a majority of both.
Okay. All right. Kennedy Chella. what can you talk about her? I think it's Chantilly.
Chantilly.
Yeah. What's been your experience with her?
She's a very upbeat, like cheerleader, like go, like party girl.
Yeah.
So those are really fun matches having with her. And I know we did some triple threats with me, her, and Holiday.
Okay. I watched some of your matches on YouTube, so I love the setup. I mean, it's so the WoW setup, the WoW ring, the entrances, your performers. What goes? I mean, are you involved highly in that promotion to the promoters? What goes into all that, getting that such a great show? Because you guys, it's crazy how awesome it looked. To be honest with you, yeah.
Yeah, no, I give it to our production crew and then our writers. So if you have an idea, you go to Selena and David and you just tell them like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do, and you go from there. But I give it to our production crew. They do an amazing job. They're there all hours, and I don't even know if they even get any sleep.
Okay. Let me see. So how do you handle the mental, the emotional demands in being a professional wrestler and being a wife and being a husband and being a mother to a child? How do you? That's got to be and a worker, but the emotions that come. You're on the road. You're away from your daughter, your husband. How does all that play? How do you get through it?
It does get sometimes it does get to you, but then you have to realize, what are you doing this for? So I always go back to like, I want to be a role model for my daughter. I want her to be like, hey, okay, if my mom could do it, I can do it. Or any little girl or even a guy, if you can do it, I can do it. So it just pushing yourself through and making sure that you have your mindset right.
Okay, so Jason Heimel, hello from Moondog Stone in Alabama. Thank you for coming to the show. We have Chris. He says, no doubt. Yeah, that name. I don't know that name. Sorry. Jacinto. I know you touched on being a trainer, helping at the training school. What motivated you to do coaching?
I actually never thought of myself as a coach until Rudy had me booked with a girl from Wesco, which is Nikki Fuego. She was training down there in the Valley. And I was like, okay, so she didn't know much of anything at all. So I was like, okay, let me try to see if I could pull out a match from her. And I did. And just with me able to guide her and show her how to do different things, and just that 10 minutes that we had made me like, okay, well, maybe I do know a little bit of something. So let me see how I can help the females out. So me and Nikki Fuego had quite a rivalry for a little bit. And she did beat me for one of my championship belts. And so it just seen how she grew from not knowing anything into now. And she has only been wrestling probably not even 2 years.
Okay. So we had Sabino Blaze on the show a couple weeks ago, last week. Have you ever been in the ring with him?
Yes, I've been in the ring with Sabino Blaze.
How was that? What was that like? Did you whip his ass? Did you take it easy on him? What'd you do?
No, I did not keep it easy on him, but I do want to clarify some facts that you guys were all discussing. So he has never beat me for my titles. So I've only lost my championship belt to Baby D, which she is from Dallas, Texas. And there was one other person. I can't think of the name on my head, but it was not Sabino Blaze. So he can talk all the nonsense that he wants to, but he's never beat me for my championship.
So my wife just peeked around the corner and she says she's a woman. She can beat anybody's ass. So
exactly.
He said exactly.
So I normally don't do intergender matches, but with Sabino, it's a little bit different. I don't know. I just feel so comfortable with him in the ring, and I'm able to give him back as much as he gives me back. So we've had some rivalry matches where we beat the crap out of each other a couple times.
And I want to like speak to Rudy here, because you're right. Last week we had some conversations that Sabina Blaze was saying that you can't lace his boots, and you would like sweat off his brow, or you're like this easygoing chick, and I'm like, you weren't, I was waiting for you to defend yourself. So I told Rudy we should set this up at some kind in Texas Wrestling Academy or something, that it needs to be filmed. We need to set this match up, make it happen.
No, we do. And so I just remembered. So the person that I lost my belt to is to Baby D and then to Vicky Vento. So she would come and she wrestled with us for a while too. So Sabino's the one that beat Vicky for the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying you're wanting me to have another wrestling match with Sabino?
That's what Rudy said. That's what I want to see. I mean, you need to shut this guy up, right? He was talking mad trash. I had nothing to do with it.
You were instigating?
No, I would never do that. Never, never, never. They don't call me the pot stir or anything, but you're losing track, right? So Rudy, you got to make this happen, man. You've been quiet most of the night. Can we make this happen?
We can do anything. So Myka and Sabino have had several matches with each other, and familiarity or whatever you want to call it, but they've always been very good matches. I'm one of the few guys that have put a male that have put a female title on a male. Even though a lot of people will support the LGBTQ movement, I'll put it out there in my events.
Yeah. I applaud you for doing that, Rudy.
And what was that?
I said I applaud that. I applaud you for doing that.
Always had good matches. Always had good responses.
And I talked with that prior to her training, and
Jacinto Rivera says Mike is a bad woman. She's tough. So
that her thing would be that move up.
So Rudy and I have discussed before that he's been to River City WrestleCon with you, and he had a table a couple years ago. What is it like wrestling at a convention like that, and who have you faced in those conventions?
So the last time that I was there, just this past August, me and Nikki Fuego had a match at River City, and then also I had a match with Ruthie J. So just going to those conventions and just meeting all the wrestling fans, and then seeing all the wrestlers that I've met like at shows or anything, and just it's like a school thing. You catch up with all the people that you've met before. So it's actually a really good experience. And then seeing all the fans and how they're so excited to see you, like they haven't seen you in forever. So like I haven't been to Florida, like I said, in a very long time. Since I started wrestling for a while, I've been limited on my bookings. So the only furthest that I go is probably right now is to Kentucky, to OVW.
Okay.
So going to Florida for the River City Comic Con, Wrestling Con. So it was really nice to go and seeing everybody. And they're like, hey, I haven't seen you. When are you going to wrestle in Florida again? So you never know.
Awesome. So talk to us about OVW. Who runs the place? What are you doing there? What kind of matches? Who are you facing?
So OVW, so you have to get a wrestling license. So I normally get mine. Right now, I actually got it. So it's good for a year because you have to have a wrestling license for OVW. So January, they have a Nightmare Rumble, an all-women's Rumble, and then they have a men's Rumble. So I try to stay going to OVW at least 3 times a year or even more often. So I don't have like a storyline with it, but like I always tell Al Snow and Maria, I'm going to come for that OVW championship.
All right. So you talk storylines. Does WOW have storylines that do they go week to week? Do they go show to show? Or are they like,
Yeah, so if you're watching the WOW Women's of Wrestling, you'll see some storylines. For example, like right now, Tormenta is wrestling Classmaster for the championship. She just won it from her. So now they're going back and forth with it. So you'll see all the storylines if you watch the WOW Women's Wrestling every Saturday on the CW channel.
CW channel. Okay, that's where you can find them. All right. Now you guys do tapings, like you do several weeks at a time. Is that why you're out in Vegas so long?
Yes. So for those, for example, for those 2 days, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we do like 17, 18 matches that night. So it's from, like I said, it's from 6:00 p.m. whenever we start the matches until 11:00. But we
So,
always
for
yeah.
anybody that's watching or anybody that's going to watch it later on, you can check Wow Women of Wrestling on CW.
Correct. Yes.
That's
And
on
then
Saturday.
yes, and then you can always go to the WOWE.com and then check for your local listing.
Okay. Awesome. So, I have kids that I talked about, foster kids and stuff like that. So they have crazy dumb questions, but I told them I'd ask.
Sure.
I don't know, because they asked me, do you think women get hit with chairs? So my question is, have you ever been hit with a chair?
Yes, I have been, and that's not very fun.
So my follow-up question usually is, when I ask that question, what hurts more? Getting hit by a chair or stepping on Legos or Matchbox cars or whatever your kid leaves on the floor?
I would say stepping on Legos, because I've stepped on Legos before, and that is not fun at all.
All right. Pineapple on pizza, is that a thing for you?
Yes, I will eat pineapple with pizza and ranch.
And ranch. I heard something crazy today. We were feeding dinner, and somebody mentioned honey on pizza. That's what I said.
Never tried it.
No, neither did I. Neither have I. So I don't want to. So what is it like working for the man above you in Texas Wrestling Academy? What's it like working with Rudy? Is it hard putting personal life aside to be, to help him out? What's that like?
So in all reality, no, I don't go to everybody and be like, hey, I'm with Rudy, so give me this or give me that. So whenever we first started seeing each other, everybody would always say, hey, Myka, you're getting everything because you're with Rudy. No, I've actually worked very hard to be at where I'm at. So I used to take offense to everything, but now actually being older and then listening to him and watching everything, it's actually, we can separate. Once we go to the gym, say, for example, we're fighting or whatever, go to the gym, we could separate it, do our work, and then come back to, regular life. But it's actually real easy to separate that for us. I don't know how anybody else can do that, but being with somebody in the wrestling business is actually good for me, I think. Because it has to be hard to be in a relationship whenever somebody's not in the wrestling business, because they don't understand what you're going through or what you're doing, and that you have to make these dates. You're traveling 12 hours for a 10-minute match and then coming home. Does that make sense? Not really, to the regular person, but to a fellow wrestler, I tell Rudy, hey, I'm leaving to OVW tomorrow. And he's like, oh, okay. And then I leave, can come back.
Wow. So this is a question about you, but it's for Rudy. So Rudy, back when Myka came to the academy at 19, so right where she's at now, how much have you seen improvement wise and where she was to where she's at?
Light and day.
Yeah.
And I say the same story to my students, and she knows. I mean, there was a time where you can see when someone has potential and when they don't. And you could see she had potential from the very beginning, but there was always something just kind of holding her back. And it could have been being away from home. It could have been the only female in the group. It could be money. It could have been a lot of things. So one day I just pulled it aside, and I'll be honest. I just told her, "What's your, excuse my language, but what's your problem?"
Yeah.
She said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "You can do this, this, and this sometimes, and then sometimes you hold back. Sometimes it's you don't even want to be here." And I just gave it a third degree, and the next day it was the lights turned on, and she started knocking it out. Whatever she was doing, she was the first one in the ring. She would work harder at doing stuff. And some of the guys started taking offense to that, and so they started singling her out and and stuff like that, wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
And
You know,
so I mean, whatever it is that I told Myka to do or directed her to do, I told everybody the same thing.
but
But somehow
the thing
the things that the things that I mentioned to her, she took to heart.
she
She
followed
followed the direction,
and look
and look at where she's at now. Meanwhile, I have guys that are still messing around locally,
and
and they've been around for a while, and
they're not
they're
sure.
not sure why they're not progressing. Um, and that's just that's just how guys are. That's how a lot of people are. They just they the stuff is in front of them and they don't realize it till it's too late. Um,
So like you mentioned,
so like you mentioned about her training girls and stuff.
uh,
Uh,
I was doing,
I was the one that did all the.
and then what
And then one day we had a girl named Mercedes Martinez
come and do.
with Francisco. And so me and Mercedes, because I'm always asking questions, I'm always trying to learn. And I asked, me and Mercedes started talking about training, and she just came right out and said, "You train girls differently than guys. You don't train them the same way." And we talked over dinner, and that was a long conversation. And so at that point, I told Micah, "You're going to handle the females, and I'll handle the male." And she has. Um, it's been a up and down, roller coaster experience. But she's learning. She helps the girls at WoW now. You know, uh, so back to your question. It's been like night and day. Huge improvement. Which is funny without going into too much detail. All odds were against her. To be honest with you, very few people believed in her. And I say this at my school all the time. Also, when she goes on TV, I think to myself, whoever her doubters were, I think to myself, there's a big fu because you didn't believe in her, and there she is, and I use her as an example to my other students because and I'm sure I'm sure all the Tom Pritchards, I'm sure the Franciscos, the Al Snows, uh, any trainer, they have students that the student is pursuing a dream, and the family members don't believe in them. And she's living proof, and there's others as well, I'm sure, but she's living proof that go pursue what you want to pursue.
Right.
If someone gives you an inch, take it a mile. Don't let people push you back. So yeah, she's done really well.
I will say this, Myka, that I did watch a couple of your matches, 3 of them, I think, last week, preparing for this, and everything from the gear that you wear, how you came off the entrance, how you play with the crowd, hold the ring, you get in there, you work well with the wrestlers, whether you win or lose, you work well, you get those, you're very sound, technically sound. I enjoyed watching your matches, and to hear that from Rudy, that's awesome. So, what was your turning point of that you think that you were were you ever at a standstill in your career and you had to make a decision to get better? What was that?
For my turning point for me to get better was I needed to cut off the people that would always doubt me, especially family members, because you would think your family they're your blood, so they should be supporting you. So that, like Rudy said, that's a big thing. So I had to actually cut that off and tell myself, I'm here for me. Who else is going to take care of me? It's going to be me. So I need to do this for myself. I cannot try to go make everybody happy, so that was my turning point, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I came here to do.
You have any road stories you want to tell?
Road stories. I have quite a bit of road stories. So there was actually, it's a funny story. So it's me and my daughter. We're over there in Florida. She was like 4 years old, I believe. It was just me and her. So I tell her, turn on the car so I can see how much gas we had. And she presses the gas. So she's like, I was trying to drive.
Nice. You're like, whoa.
Oh, you want to know a funny road story? So me and Sabino and this guy named Max Castellanos were just coming back from a wrestling show in Dallas.
Okay.
So Max Castellanos was like, hey, you can go ahead and drive my car because he was tired. He was like the main event. So I'm like, okay, Sabino's sitting in the back seat. So we stopped at a gas station. I got down, was putting gas. And then all of a sudden, we took off. All of a sudden, my phone rings, and I'm like, Sabino, why are you calling me? And I look in the back, and he wasn't there. So I answered the phone. I'm like, where are you at? We left him at the gas station. But the funny thing is, I did ask Max, like, hey, everybody's in the car. He looked, and he's like, yes. And so we took off. So Sabino will not ride in the car with me no more because he thinks I'm going to leave him at the gas station. That's a funny road story.
That is a funny road story. We ought to have a match at a gas station.
Yeah. Luckily, he had his phone because he would have been stranded.
Right. That's awesome. Or Sabino Blaze. Man.
We've been through it together, yeah.
I guess.
Right.
So if I say, how important is it to keep your bag in your trunk at all times? Is that a fair statement as a wrestler?
Yes, that's a fair statement. So I have my bag packed for whenever. So like randomly people will call like, hey, can you come here tomorrow? Sure, I'll be there. And me, I rather drive. I do not like to fly since I always get stranded or it's like always delays. So for example, Al Snow will text me or Maria will text me or call me like, hey, can you be at OVW tomorrow? Because they have shows on Thursdays. Say it's Wednesday night. It's a 15-hour drive. So I'm like, okay, bye, Rudy. I'll see you later. Or I'm booked for a show in Georgia. Like, hey, I got to go. Yeah, always be ready for anything. You never know what's going to pop up.
Wow, that's crazy. So where are you going this weekend?
This weekend, I do not have any shows, but I do have the WrestleCade coming up in North Carolina. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's at the end of that's a weekend of Thanksgiving.
Are you and Rudy going to go or just you?
No, I'm going to have him drive. Yes. He's going to be my chauffeur.
That's good. What is it like being a mom? How old's your daughter?
She will be 13 December 1st.
Do you think, is she like interested in the business of wrestling or not? Not so much.
She used to like getting in the ring whenever she was little. Now she's just watching like WWE, AEW. She watches every wrestling. So she may not, I'm not sure, but right now she's just into basketball.
Okay. I watched a video on Rudy's Facebook. I think it was training, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen the training where getting out of the ring. What was the hardest skill to master in training, and what is the hardest skill to master now?
The hardest skill to master in training is actually just keep learning. That's the thing, is that's the master of like, you can't be, you're like, oh, I know all this. No, it's do things until you can't get it wrong. Always be open-minded. Like the hardest thing for me to do still is actually going over the top rope and going and landing correctly. Because of us females, we are smaller, so we have to jump a little bit higher.
So the ring is no different, right?
No, all the rings are going to be about the same, unless it's like one of those little small rings. But normally I don't wrestle in those rings. It's always like a 20x20 or 18x18 or 16. Okay. But yeah, the ropes are tall.
So you're AEW, you've been in OVW, you've been at WOW. Have you been at WWE?
I've done extra work for them, but I haven't actually had a contract with them.
What kind of extra work did you do?
So whenever Adam Rose was there for the Rosebuds, we did some of that. No Way Jose. It's been a while. Yeah.
So I've heard through other wrestlers that have wrestled at different promotions about how stiff the ropes are here compared to here. Is that a true statement? Do you, wherever you go, do you have to get used to taking bumps off the ropes, or are they all different, all the same?
They're all the same, but they are different because it just depends on how you put up the ring and how much you tighten them. But they're all going to be hurting the same Because some could still be loose, but they're still gonna hurt because they're all just rope. Yeah.
So I heard you say hurt, right? So
Yes, you're gonna get a bruise on your back. If
so my wife will say, my wife would say this statement. What a matter of fact, my TikTok, the TikTok that has made the most views is my wife talking about wrestling, and I can't remember what it was. It was a pay-per-view she was watching with me, and there was such a obvious not that something happened that was so obviously fake that she made a video saying wrestling is fake as F. So talk to us about those people that think what you guys do is fake. How close to fake is it not?
I would just invite them to come to training and just come get in the ring with us and see how much you can do.
Yeah, I know I couldn't. I mean,
you can see all the glam and like everything whenever you're wrestling like in front of a crowd, but people don't realize the stuff that you do before that. They're going to training, leaving work early, making sure you're going to the gym, eating correctly, working out, make sure you can pick up your opponent, make sure you're not going to hurt your opponent. It's the back work that nobody sees. Everybody likes to see just the glam and the production and that stuff, but there's more to it than just the end product.
So do you make your own gear?
I don't, but I would really like to. But I do have a lady that does make my gear for me, and she's really good at that. She gets my inspirations that I want.
So as you come to the tail end of your career, whenever that is, what kind of plans do you have? Do you have plans to stay in the business, or do you have plans to just walk away from it and be the mom or be whatever you're missing that during your career? What's that look like?
I have plans to, of course, I'm always going to be the mom, but just giving back to all these women. There's so many women that are out there and that they're wanting to learn the wrestling business and being a wrestler, and then just giving them the knowledge that I know, what I went through as whenever I first started wrestling to now, just so they're not like all in shock, like, oh my gosh, just giving them my advice and helping them out. Just like I've got through all the female wrestlers that I've looked up to and that reach out to me like, hey, try this or do that. You've always need that person. It's always good to have somebody there to help you, especially with wrestling. I'd say you only have like a handful of friends. So when you do make those ones, it's good to keep that connection with them.
Do you have any current rivalries that you'd like to talk about right now?
Current rivalries. I would just say, like, of course, Nikki Fuego and Sabino. Other ones, not really too much.
Anything you need to say to those two?
For my things.
Anything you need to say to those two?
Just that they need to stop underestimating me and that I am not the girly girl like they think I am. They know where they stand in my book.
Okay. Gotcha. So I often ask, your top 4 wrestlers, your Mount Rushmore, if you will. What is your Mount Rushmore of female wrestlers?
And there's 4, right? Mount Rushmore.
I think there's 4. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I would say Natalya, Charlotte Flair. Okay. Who else? That is very hard for me because those are the top 2 females that I really look up to. I would put Ivelisse and Mercedes Martinez on there.
Okay. What are your thoughts about Lita?
I like Lita.
Yeah. I know I think I met her 2 years ago at a convention at the River City Wrestling Concept.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, her and Trish Stratus were there, so that was fun.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, if there's one wrestler that you'd want to finish your career with, one last match, a retirement match, who would you want to be?
I would say Natalya.
Have you ever met the lady?
I haven't met her, but I did meet her husband whenever he did come do a wrestling clinic for Rudy. But I've always watched her. I like the way she just a grappler. She doesn't have to jump off the top rope. She doesn't need to do dives. She could just wrestle. That's what I love about it.
Heel or face?
Oh, her or me?
You. What do you like playing best?
Honestly, either one, but I prefer heel.
I had a hard time with heels. I mean, seriously, I'm a guy that loves the fate. I like the Hogans. I like this John Cena's. Until I have to get there, but now I love heels because I watched MJF for the whole year he was a heel AEW, and I hated the man. My brother looks at me. My brother says to me, he goes, "You hate him because he's doing his job."
Yep, but you still kept watching him though. That's why.
I did. And even John Cena when he turned heel at WrestleMania, I hated it at first, but that was some of the best stuff I've ever watched in my life because he's so good, But my brother would tell me, he goes, "You hate the heels because they're doing their job right." Now I love the heels because I know the meaning of what they're, what they're supposed to be doing. So
yeah.
So where can fans find Myka? Where can they buy your merch? Where can they see you?
So they can follow me on my Facebook, which is Myka Madrid. I have my 2 Instagram accounts, which is Myka Laura. And then I have my _Sylvia Sanchez. Even on the Twitter, on X, you can follow me at Myka Laura, or also on my _Sylvia Sanchez. And then to buy merchandise, normally people just go direct message me, or you can always go to my Myka Madrid /bigcartel.com and purchase from there as well.
Myka Madrid /bigcartel.com.
Yeah, I can send you the link to your.
Yeah, please. That's sick.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's awesome, man. So, well, thank you, Myka, for joining us on Huge Pipe Entertainment. I'm sorry my co-host was lost for words. I mean, he looks like he's starstruck.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you bringing me on the show.
I appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody at Huge Pop, thank you for joining us. Check out Myka Madrid on WOW, Women of Wrestling on CW on Saturday. Check her out on her Facebook, her Instagram. Pay more attention to Huge Pop Entertainment as Rudy and I have guests come in every week on Monday nights. And as like what I always say, please don't go anywhere after I say goodbye to you, Myka. I'd like to talk to you and Rudy. But everybody, thank you for stopping in at Huge Pop Entertainment. It's been a blessing. And all these guys that stopped in and watched the show, I appreciate you guys. I know Rudy does. Myka, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And as we say here at Huge Pop, we're for life.